Part of being able to feed cattle economically is to be able to buy your feed ingredients at a good price. And we realized that the corn distillers grain that we get, we have to get it in such a small quantity because we only have a small bin. It only fits like 8 tons of grain in there. So we had an opportunity to get it by the truckload, but we didn't have anywhere to put it by the truckload. Truckload is like 25 tons versus the 8 tons that goes in our bin. So we decided we're gonna make a little commodity bay down here where this pile of junk was for the last several years. And so we're starting to clean up and get this junk moved out of the way so we can stack some concrete blocks in here and make a little temporary commodity bay to dump some corn distillers in. Then we'll have to tarp it, but at least it'll keep it contained and keep it off the ground. Yeah, so we're getting it cleaned up, and tomorrow the excavators come. He's gonna help us level out this pad, and then we should be able to stack blocks. So we thought putting these blocks in place was just gonna mean leveling off a little pad, putting the blocks in place. But there was some rocks that were in the way, and we gotta get them out of the way. I think we're all ready. Supposedly the truck is coming today with our load of corn distillers, and we have the commodity bays all ready. We use some block, which those blocks are concrete blocks that they come from the concrete plant. So when the trucks come back with a little bit extra in the tank of the concrete truck, they dump it off in these forms and make these blocks. And so we can buy the blocks as kind of a byproduct of their process, but they work great for stacking like this. And we also use some old hog slats. So you guys saw us changing hog slats in the hog barn before, and we have all these old slats that are partially broken, which obviously aren't great for when you're holding something above a liquid. But in the case where you're landing on the ground, works great. So we put the old hog slats on the floor of the commodity bay, and that'll give us something to run the skid loader bucket on, that we don't dig into the dirt, keep the commodity up off the ground just a little bit. So anyway, I'm pretty excited about this. I think it worked out pretty good. We did this whole thing in about a day and a half, and in response to needing to get this load of corn distillers this month yet. So anyway, hopefully later today we'll be unloading a truck. The driver just got here with a load of corn distillers, so we're gonna get her dumped in here and see how it works. I guess we didn't build it big enough because we can't quite fit a whole load in the one bay, which is what we were hoping for. But you can see that we filled it full, so we're gonna have to dump some over here in the other bay. Wow, it's like gonna take a bay and a half. All right, there we have it. One load of corn distillers grain delivered in the new commodity base. All right, today we have some more vaccination and some more implanting to do. And so we're gonna get started on that. You guys saw last week that we have an inventory spreadsheet that keeps track of all of our inventory and also drives our feeding program. But we also use that spreadsheet to keep track of our vaccination program and the implanting program that we have for all of our cattle and what dates that they're supposed to get them. That way we can keep track of everything. There's lots of dates to keep track of, and that spreadsheet really helps us to keep track of things and know when they're scheduled to happen. We have it set up so that the cells turn yellow when we're getting close and they turn red once they're due. So that's been a useful tool for us. So just to talk a little bit about our vaccination program here at our farm, we give a first vaccine, which is a nasal vaccine, which we give when they're just a couple days old. And then we have another vaccine that we give at 7 weeks, and another vaccine that we give at 19 weeks. And that covers, those are all different vaccines, and they cover different threats that we could have on the farm. So that gives us coverage to try to keep our cattle healthy. It's a program that we developed through the veterinarians that we work with. Here are the 3 different vaccines that we use. This is the first vaccine that we use when the calves are just a couple days old. And then this is our next one. This is a pyramid product. And this is the last one we use, also a pyramid product that we give at 7 weeks and at 19 weeks. Most of the vaccines that we get in a 10-dose vial, and it's almost always a 2-part solution. So there's 2 halves that we need to mix up right before we give it to the calves. And a couple weeks back, a friend of mine gave me this little tool. You probably don't know what that is, but this little tool allows us to mix these 2 vials together in one shot versus drawing it out with a syringe and putting it in the other one. So to use this little tool, you take the one side and you put it into the liquid first. Like that. See, we got a little drip coming out there. Then you take this whole thing and you put it onto the dry powder side. Now the dry powder vial has a vacuum in it, and the intent is that the liquid is drawn into the vacuum. So when you put this together, can you see it? It sucked all the liquid from the top down into the bottom, and now it's all mixed up. You can take this off, and now we're ready to give it to the calves. We also have an implanting schedule. The first implant happens also at 7 weeks and at 19 weeks, and then we do the final one at 36 weeks. So when I say implant, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about some sort of aesthetic implant, which is what normally happens with people. I'm talking about a product that increases the rate and the growth efficiency in cattle. This is a compound that we put in under the skin behind the ear. That's why it's called an implant, because we're implanting it behind the skin. But that compound is designed to create a similar physiological response in the cattle to natural hormones. So estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Implanting cattle is very common in the beef industry, and it's been a great breakthrough in technology to help us increase those 2 things, efficiency and rate of growth in our cattle. Implanting is a relatively low-cost treatment that studies have shown can lead to a 10 to 15% increase in average daily gain. That's the amount of weight that they put on in a day. As the percentage of farmers relative to the entire population decreases, farmers are asked to do more with less resources every year. Implanting cattle has been a great way to be efficient with our inputs and to maximize our output. We have 3 different implants that we use. This is the first one. They're all Synovex products. This is Synovex 1 grass. This is for the youngest calves that we do. And then this is our next implant. This is a 120-day implant that we give our growing calves. And then this is the Synovex 1 feedlot. Got kind of ripped off there. But that's what we use as our finishing implant. So you may be saying, I don't know how I feel about that. Is that safe to use those products? And the answer is absolutely yes. The US FDA, the World Health Organization, and the World Agriculture Organization have all done extensive testing and all concluded that implants in beef production poses no safety risk to consumers. In fact, it's interesting, they've done some studies comparing hormone levels in implanted beef relative to other products that we use all the time. Like for instance, ice cream has 272 times the amount of estrogen that implanted beef has. Even vegetables like peas and wheat and cabbage can have 180 to 1,000 times more estrogen than implanted beef. So using these implant products is an important part of the economic viability of our operation here. And especially when we're talking about black and white cattle who naturally aren't as efficient in beef production, it's important that we utilize some resources like this to make sure we're getting the performance that we need out of these cattle to make this business viable. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to post a comment. We'll do our best to answer it, but I challenge you just to look into this a little bit more. Along with the FDA, most of our research universities that have agriculture programs have done studies into this and all have shown the safety and the benefits of using these implant products in beef cattle production. I got Casey here helping me today. We normally do this when we're in the kennels still, but somehow we missed them. So we have to do them down here, which takes a little bit more effort. What's that guy? What's his number? Hey buddy, come on out here. There you go. Ready? 27, right? Yep. So 42, 46, we also need to do this.
Okay to come.
And then also
Sit. Good dog.
57.
Come, Kata. Sit.
Out. Yep.
I was close.
This is actually one vaccine that I didn't mention earlier that we have recently added to our program. We did some testing and we found that there was one area that we needed to cover a little bit better, so we added this extra vaccine. Okay. Ready to go. What's the matter, pup?
She looks like she wants attention.
So these vaccines, we give sub-Q. That means we just give them under the skin.
Last one.
Alright, that's all in one shot.
Yay. Dad and Casey are going to check out the hog alarm, and then I think we'll be done, and I get to go up to the house and warm up my cold toes and fingers.
All right, we got all those put in the computer, and I think we're gonna call it a day because it's supper time. Thanks for watching.